Stardew Valley, a simple farming simulator that people play to relax after a long and tiring day, slowly building relationships, your own house, until you finally achieve the biggest goal of the game. Marrying the emo boy. Completing the community center. But this player decided to completely ignore the relaxing part of the game and try and complete this goal as quickly as possible. In this video, I'm going to explain how he managed to achieve in just 2 hours and 16 minutes what would normally take months of gameplay. This is the Stardew Valley Speedrun. The speedrunner name is Habu, and we'll follow him on his journey to complete the community center. A quick sum up. To complete the CC, you need a total of 106 items and 42,500 gold. And that's what Habu will be gathering during this speedrun. Here, at the corner of the screen, we have a timer informing the time elapsed inside the game, the time elapsed in real time, the current world record, which was already his, and the little goals he'll be completing along the way. Right at the beginning, there's already 3 important topics during the character customization phase. The first thing is the type of farm he'll choose, which is the forest farm. This will be extremely important to guarantee some resources needed during the run that only spawn in this farm type. The second essential thing is that he sets his character's gender as female. This might seem silly, but there's a fundamental reason behind that. When you reach 5,000 gold, you get a letter either from your mother or from your father. If you're a man, you get a letter from your mother giving you cookies. But if you're a woman, you get a letter from your father giving you 500 gold as a gift. And I don't think I need to tell you that any extra gold will speed things up. The third thing is the animal he chooses. In Stardew Valley, we have 2 options: cats or dogs. Habu picks the cat, and although cats are actually superior to dogs, that's not the reason why he chose it. I'm gonna explain to you the real reason when the time to adopt a pet comes. Another little detail is that he alters the mine rewards to remixed, which basically sets the rewards to each mine level to random. In this run, it won't make any difference, but there's a chance of you getting a better sword at the beginning, which would help a ton if happened. Then, after setting everything up, the run begins, and the first thing he does is to take every single house furniture and throw it away. This is done to free up some space for machinery later on. After that, he takes the parsnip seeds and starts to hold the ground very quickly. This is a mechanic known as animation cancelling, a bug that the creator accidentally left in the game that makes the tool usage much faster by eliminating its animation. This can be done by pressing the right shift with the letter R and the delete key at the same time, but speedrunners use macros to reconfigure the keys and make this movement easier. This makes this run be classified as glitchless instead of vanilla run. He then gets 50 wood and goes to sleep, not doing anything else on that day. This is a very common practice in Stardew Valley speedruns, since the crops grow only as the days go by. With that in mind, Habu only wakes up to water the plants, then goes to sleep again. Arriving at day 5, he checks the TV to see if it's a lucky day. Stardew Valley speedruns depend a lot on luck in order to get specific items. But by watching the Furniture Teller channel, you can tell when luck is in your favor based on what is said. So he uses that to determine if he'll go out or not in that day. Since the spirits are happy, he may go out and continue the run. If they weren't, this would be a reset. His goal then is to advance in the mines as much as possible and get resources. Copper and coal are really important to craft more items later on, and the gemstones will be sold to gather more money. And on his first day, luck is already on his side. At level 23, he finds a wood club to replace the rusty sword, which makes fighting monsters a lot faster. The special attack is really OP. If you press the mouse button and spam the C key on your keyboard, it'll deal a lot more damage and kill enemies almost instantly. This only happens with clubs, so that's why it's really important to have the club. He then finishes the day on level 40 with more than 100 copper and hits the pickaxe on the floor until he passes out. This is another strategy used by speedrunners so they don't waste time walking back home. When your energy is down, the day ends automatically and you wake up inside your house the next day. Then he sleeps again until he gets another lucky day on TV, leaving for another entire day at the mines, this time looking for iron and more coal. Instead of going down the levels, he goes up and down the elevator multiple times. This resets the level, allowing him to obtain much more resources more quickly. He ends up with 74 iron and 30 coal, then passes out again and sells the gems he got to gather money. From now on, he puts the ores in 2 furnaces he crafted and sleeps to make them smelt faster, besides cruelly rejecting the kitty. But since he rejected the cat, why does the animal animal he chose at the beginning matter? Well, there happens to be a cutscene we're forced to watch, which Marnie arrives with the pet saying she found it abandoned and asking if he wants to adopt it. The thing is, after she says that, the cat meows and the dog barks, and it's precisely that sound effects that makes the difference. The dog's bark has 188 more frames than the cat's meow, so picking the cat saves you 3 seconds of the final runtime. This may seem meaningless, but on speedruns, any time save is helpful. So, on the 13th day, he starts to clean the farm looking for mixed seeds. Then he hoes the ground in that weird-ass shape and waters everything. But there's a reason for hoeing this way. He'll use basic sprinklers to water the crops automatically, and those only have a reach of 4 squares, so he needs to set the scheme up to have the best possible space usage. And he's collecting mixed seeds to plant and guarantee extra money at the end of the season. Then he goes to the festival and spends all of his money on strawberry seeds. The strawberry isn't a necessary item to complete the community center, but it's the most lucrative crop at the beginning of the game, so he used that to gather even more money for the future. A few days hibernating, watering, and smelting ores later, he's able to craft 14 basic sprinklers and ends the season with 47 strawberries, 5 parsnips, 5 potatoes, and 2 cauliflowers, which he sells it all to Pierre to get more money and buy the things that are actually necessary for the completion of the community center. At this point, he is able to buy everything he needs, including more inventory space, leaving him with 7 gold left. His budget is kinda tight in this run, and he's starting to worry about it.
Oh no! We're gonna be so poor going into fall.
But then, the fairy appears, and despite normally being an extremely hated event by speedrunners for wasting almost a whole minute during her cutscene, in this case she ended up being useful, since she made the blueberries grow faster, giving Habu the extra money he needed. After that, he spends more days hibernating, smelting ores, and harvesting crops, until finally, at summer 20, he leaves the house once more for another visit to the mines. This time, his goal was to get some of the community center items, like bat wings, solar essence, and a crab, besides collecting even more iron and coal to craft sprinklers. The good ones this time. Sadly, he didn't get any crab, which he didn't think it was going to be that bad. But later on, I'll show you how that made him lose quite some time at the end of the run. When his energy is low, he goes to Pierre's and sells over 300 blueberries he harvests during the summer, gaining 20,500 gold. Right after that, he does something you'll never see in a normal Stardew Valley gameplay: buying ores at Clint's. Although he had already collected a bunch at the mines, there was still some missing, but the main reason for doing that is to get gold. Gold is necessary to complete the blacksmith bundle, but it's only available in the mines from levels 80 on. But going down the levels happened to be really slow. He already spent 10 minutes just going from level 40 to get some iron, so it ends up being more worth it to buy ores at Clint than to waste more 10 minutes going to level 80 just to collect some gold. After that, Habu gets a sweet pea from the summer bundle and passes out, concluding the day. And he's back at his sleeping and smelting routine, but something very important on day 21 happens really fast and can't go unnoticed. He checks the television. Every Sunday, the TV channel Queen of Sauce teaches a different recipe, and that day's recipe was the maki roll. This recipe is one of the necessary items to complete the chef's bundle, so if you miss that day's show, the run is basically over. But he remembers it, so the run can continue normally. Then he goes out on 24th to activate the cutscene with Demetrius, asking if he wants to put mushrooms or bats in his cave. Habu chooses the bat, and that's an essential choice and probably one of the most tense moments of this speedrun, because it depends 100% on luck. Bats have a 50% chance of giving a random fruit every day if the cave is empty, and that percentage goes down as the fruits pile up. Habu needs the bats to give him at least 5 different fruits to complete the artisan bundle, since choosing to craft other non-fruit items would take too long. But for now, he doesn't need to worry about that, since he'll only be checking the caves later on the speedrun. He then harvests the crops twice more and finishes summer up with more than 300 blueberries to guarantee his money on fall. He starts fall up by spamming the mailbox, and one of the letters is the one I told you about before, the father sending 500 gold over. After that, he finally goes to the wizard tower to activate the wizard's potion cutscene, necessary to unlock the community center. He does that now because that's only necessary at this moment, since he wants to start donating some items and unlocking some rewards. He then completes the summer foraging bundle, spring foraging bundle, and the summer crops bundle. And here it's important to highlight a trick he'll use every time he completes a bundle, so he doesn't need to wait for the end of the cutscene. Normally, after completing a bundle, your character is frozen until the cutscene revealing the other bundles ends. But if you press the button to make the animation cancelling I told you about before, the character lock is cancelled. Then you can freely walk although the cutscene is still happening. And that's why the screen gets all buggy when he leaves the community center and walks through the map, because the game thinks he's still in the cutscene. After that, he goes to Pierre's and sells everything he got, even the community Center rewards, and all of that to get more money in order to buy exactly 212 pumpkin seeds. And when he's back at the farm to plant the pumpkins, he notices an insane thing.
Did anybody else see the purple mushroom?
He finds a purple mushroom completely hidden on the screen, which I only saw after he took it. That advances the run a bit, because the purple mushroom is one of the items that depend on luck for you to get during fall in your farm, since he didn't choose the mushroom cave. I have no idea how he saw that, but only this alone already proves how this guy is good at Stardew and how much he deserves this record. On day 4, since it's a rainy day, he goes out once more and finds a red mushroom, another community center item that depends on luck. Besides that, he also crafts wooden paths and puts them down in a path from his house to the upper passage to avoid trees growing on his way, which could make him lose time cutting down trees to free the pathway. Right after that, he goes to the community center and puts down a chest in front of it, with the items he'll donate later on. That frees him some space in his house's chest and in his inventory. Then, he begins the most tense part of the speedrun, fishing. There are 6 bundles with only fish in it, so you can already guess how boring and unpredictable this part is. Fishing in Stardew Valley works like this. You cast the fishing rod and wait until a fish decides to show up. Once it does, there's a fishing minigame, and you only find out which fish you got after completing the minigame. And to make things even worse, the fish have specific places and climates to show up, but there's always more than one fish available at the place, and some of them are not required to the community center. So this fishing part is totally determined by luck. But since everything in a speedrun has to be as fast and optimized as possible, Habu couldn't let this part be defined just by luck. Each fish has a pattern of movement during the fishing minigame, so speedrunners memorize the patterns of the fish they need so they can cancel the minigame every time they notice it's not one of them. Besides that, some fish only show up in determined conditions like weather and time of the day, and that's exactly why he chose the specific day to go fishing. Since it was raining, he could get the specific fish on rainy days too, which is really funny because the first fish he gets is called sunfish, even if it wasn't a sunny day. But guess what? This also has an explanation. The game code is made in a way that your first catch must be a fish. If it's not, the item is replaced by a sunfish. And that's why he just fishes here one time and then changes location, because here there is more chance of getting trash, and trash would be replaced by a sunfish. Well, before he starts fishing for real, he goes to Willie's and buy a fiberglass rod and 2 trout soups, which give a fishing buff so he can fish more easily despite having a low fishing level. He then spends 10 long minutes just fishing, and then he buys 12 coffees and passes out. The coffee will be useful to accelerate his movement speed, because the next days will involve a lot of walking around the town. So he hibernates again until the pumpkins have grown enough, harvest them, and plant more. Next, he goes to the left of his farm to see if there's more mushrooms. And lucky for him, there were even more than he needed. Usually, to complete the CC, you only need 2 red mushrooms and 2 purple mushrooms. But in this run, you need 3 purple ones. And I'm gonna explain why when the time comes. After that, he goes to the community center to complete the fall foraging bundle and to donate the fish he already caught until then. He sells the pumpkins, buys more seeds, ores, and resources, then he buys his first farm building, a coop. He also crafts 10 preserve jars using the wood and the coal he bought to put some pumpkins in there to increase its selling price. Then the hibernating season is back. He only wakes up to harvest pumpkins and then he sleeps until the 17th day of winter. When he finally wakes up, he sets up another wooden path from his house to the forest. Then he starts hoeing the ground in search of a snow yam and a winter root for the winter foraging bundle. After finding the snow yam, he immediately finds a winter root, which may seem like luck, but it was actually calculated. These items follow a chestnut pattern to the right. So with that in mind, after getting the first one, he just goes 2 squares to the right and 1 up to get the other one. He then does something even more curious. He goes to the wizard tower and gives him a purple mushroom. Yes, the extra mushroom he needed besides the 2 main ones I told you about. But if it's a speedrun in which the main goal is to get items, it doesn't make sense to waste time befriending NPCs, right? Wrong! This gift happens to be a little detail that'll save him a lot of time from the speedrun. A few months ago, the same speedrun was done with players being forced to go to level 80 of the mines to get 2 items, gold and fire cards. The gold, I already explained the solution, buying at Clint's. But what about the fire cards? You can't buy this gemstone anywhere, and that's where the ace in the hole comes in. By befriending NPCs, there's a chance they'll send you some items as gifts through the mail, and one of the wizard's items is precisely the fire cards. That's why Habu collected an extra purple mushroom, since it's one of the wizard's loved gifts, just so he could gift it to him, befriend him, and thus receive a fire cards through the mail to complete the geologist bundle. Well, after that, he buys more ores at Clint and improves his axe so he can break the large log of the secret forest. It will be possible to skip this process using the chair bug to go through the large log, but this bug is banned from Stardew Valley speedruns, so Habu has to go through the traditional way. It would be allowed on glitches speedruns, but this is a glitchless one. Next, he goes to Robin's and buys his second farm building, the barn, and then he spends all his money buying even more wood, taking advantage of the fact that the prices haven't increased yet, since he's in year 1. Then, he hibernates until spring. This second spring is quite short. He replants all his crops that died during the winter, uses his free time to donate more items to the center, sells all the 40 pumpkin pickles he made during winter, and spends all of his money again buying cauliflower and other spring crops needed for the spring crop bundle. He gets his axe back at Clint's, improves the coop, plants all the seeds, and hibernates once again. And I wish Stardew Valley speedruns were possible in real life. It must be really great to sleep this much. During the time he spends hibernating, he basically just harvests the crops and put them in jars. And that's the routine until summer. Summer is back, and along with it comes the fishing saga. Besides catching some fish, Habu leaves his axe with Clint to improve it again and goes to Pierre's shop to do important shopping. The melons and the corn are to guarantee at least 5 will come up with golden quality to complete the quality crop bundle. The sunflowers and poppies are for the bulletin board, the rice is for the maki roll recipe, the grass is to feed the animals, and the apple tree is so he doesn't need to depend too much on luck with the bats, since 4 apples are needed in total to complete the community center. And he buys all of that incredibly fast. After that, he improves the barn, and all of that improvements on farm buildings are especially to get the annual bundle items and the truffle for the bulletin board. And this time, the chosen crop to make money is the red cabbage. And his math are so on point that all of the seeds fit in every little spot. A lot of hibernating, fishing, and coop improving later, Habu goes to Clint's to get his axe back and finally arrives at the decisive point that could end the run, the bat cave. Like I said before, this part depends totally on luck, and he'd need 2 pomegranates, a cherry, a peach, an orange, and an apricot. Upon entering, the cave was already filled up with fruit. And thankfully, he didn't need to drop the run because all the fruit he needed were there, besides the apricot. But not having one fruit isn't that big of a deal because it can be replaced by a jelly in the artisan bundle, which he could already make since he's been using jars to increase the profits of the crops. Next, he breaks some sprinklers to clean space because it won't be necessary to plant anything anymore, and puts some grass starters to spread through the farm and serve as food for the animals in the future. Then, another moment in which he depended completely on luck arrived. He needed the traveling cart to sell him some item from the crab pot bundle, since he couldn't get any crab during his mine trips. That meant he only had 3 of the 4 items necessary to complete his bundle, and if the traveling cart didn't have one item, he'd have to go all the way back to the mines looking for a crab, or craft a crab pot, which is only unlocked after reaching level 3 fishing.
What we really need is a crab pot item from the traveling cart. I don't necessarily care if pufferfish is in here.
And well, he didn't get the item he needed, but he got the sandfish, which is really good because it made it so he didn't need to go to the desert fish. He also got a pufferfish, really great to save some more fishing time. Despite not getting the item for the crab pot bundle, the run wasn't doomed yet, because the traveling carts can also show up on Fridays and Sundays. But Habu was depending completely on luck in this case. Then he finally goes into the secret woods and collects the fiddlehead fern, which is literally the only reason he had to improve his axe twice. After that, he buys a duck and a rabbit so he could get the duck egg, the duck feather, the wool, and the rabbit's food. All necessary items for the community center. Then he finally finishes the farm improvements with the deluxe barn, also giving Demetrius a golden strawberry right after. This gift served the same purpose as the wizard's gift, but twice. Demetrius can give to both the Brin and the Nautilus shell, 2 necessary items for the community center. So, since Habu was already at Robin's and losing a strawberry wasn't going to be bad, he took the opportunity to befriend Demetrius and have a chance of eliminating the time he'd spent fishing the Brin and going to the beach during winter for the Nautilus shell. It's all about these little details that make this Stardew Valley speedrun so impressive and so hard to reproduce. After giving the gift, Habu walks to his house instead of passing out, and he does that this time because of his 8,000 gold. Every time you pass out, you lose 10% of your money, so it's more worth it to waste some extra time walking than to lose 800 gold just to save some time. After the long day, he sleeps once more to restore his energy and wakes up to harvest some crops and stop stop neglecting his animals. Since it's Sunday, it's also a day of checking the traveling cart. But once again, she didn't have the crab pot bundle item Habu needed. But there was a large milk and a cave carrot at least, so he took the chance and bought it to save him time and money buying a cow and going to the mines again. He then goes to the secret woods again to fish the wood skip and buys a piggy, 2 chickens, 1 more rabbit and 1 more duck, finishing up his animal buying list. He also buys 125 hay, just to make sure the animals will be well fed so they can give the items he needs. At this point, the speedrun is already heading towards the end, and Habu's focus is essential to maintain control over the money and over what items are missing or not.
I don't have a sea urchin, which is the biggest annoyance. No sea urchin, no tiger trout. I need crocus, so I'm going to winter no matter what. And then I also need the crab pot item. I need a random crab pot item.
So after another concluded season, let's move on to the last but one season, the second fall. There's no need for him to plant anything else at this point, so he just goes out to pet the animals and to put a tapper on an oak tree. And the days continue the same way. Wake up, pet the animals and sleep. Eventually, he gets the duck egg and the duck feeder, so he sells the animal without mercy. As if it wasn't enough to reject the cat, he sells all the animals that aren't useful for him anymore. But that's okay, it was for the speedrun's greater good, which was progressing really well. Every key point he needed to go through were with a few minutes advantage compared to the world record. And now there was only the hardest part left, the end.
Yeah, this run is insane. It just needs to finish, is the thing. Like, I might have to just do random fishing. I'll probably catch everything when I'm going for tiger trout, is how I'll deal with it. I'm just not going to go to the cart. Just make it consistent. Take the 30-second time loss.
So on day 14, he wakes up and puts some more items in their respective bundles, completing the fodder bundle, the lake fish bundle, and every bundle that required money. In the meantime, he was waiting for the pig to spawn a truffle, which could not happen.
All right, pig, I need the truffle.
Even the chat was praying, and luck for him, once again, the item he needed was there.
Bless your soul, bless your heart. You'll never be forgotten.
Right after that, he goes back to the community center and completes the artisan bundle, replacing that one apricot he couldn't get with a jelly. Next, he goes to Robin's to improve his house, and that is just so he could cook the maki roll and the fried egg for the chest bundle. Then, after cooking both foods, he finally gets the last animal product, the large brown egg. This time, he decides not to sell the chicken.
I don't need the money. Brown chicken, you can live.
And the Sunday arrives again, traveling cart day, and he goes there one last time with the hopes to get the crab pot item he needed. He arrived there and...
Alright, we really want a crab pot item here that will make this run god tier.
Once again, there wasn't the item. The run had already reached 2 hours and 4 minutes, and he was already starting to feel anxious.
Will he work on Sundays?
And what better way to increase the anxiety than by waiting for the right fish to come by your fishing rod? I'm serious, watching him standing still while the time goes by was making me really nervous. But then, after 3 long minutes, the tiger trout finally shows up. But he needs to continue fishing to unlock level 3 fishing and buy a crab pot at Willie's, since he didn't get any item with the traveling cart. This process took so long that it was starting to be hard to believe he was actually going to beat the record in his run, since the timer was almost hitting 2 hours and 8 minutes already. After reaching level 3, he buys the crab pot and put it in the farm, waiting to get anything useful. Sleeping some more, he finally gets the crab pot item he was missing by the traditional way. He gets the maple syrup and starts spamming the mail once more. This time, his goal was to get the items he'd received as a gift for the wizard and Demetrius. After opening up every letter, none of them was the fire cards. But thankfully, that's not bad, because if you don't know, Stardew Valley only saves the file when you sleep. So, if you leave the farm midday, when you enter it again, you'll go back to the beginning of the day. So Habu uses this in his favor. He purposefully read all the letters first thing in the morning in case there wasn't the item he needed, so he could just go back to the main menu and open up the farm again. Leaving the save is allowed in speedruns. The only thing that isn't allowed is to close the game and open it again. Then he restarted the game, opened up all the letters once again, and already in his second attempt, he got 2 of the 3 items needed. He ended up not receiving the Nautilus shell, but it wasn't worth it to restart the day just for it, since he'd have to go to the beach either way in order to catch a sea urchin for the dye bundle. Now he was only 3 items away from victory.
I need crocus, nautilus, sea urchin.
The last season has started, and everyone was on edge. 2 hours and 12 minutes on the timer. Habu drinks his last coffee, gets the second maple syrup needed and leaves towards the beach, praying there will be the items he needs. On the way, he can already see the crocus, so now he was depending on luck to find the things he was missing on the beach. All he needed was a single Nautilus shell drop and a sea urchin. He uses a warp totem he got as a reward from the center and goes to the beach in the blink of an eye. And when he got there...
Oh, thank God it's over there. Holy shit. I actually got all of them. Wait, don't tell me this is actually it.
He did it! At this moment, Habu was already starting to feel happy because he knew the run was practically won. But at the same time, he was anxious without knowing if he had actually got all of the items.
I don't think I'm... Am I forgetting something? It'll be devastating if I'm forgetting something.
At this moment, chat was already going crazy as Habu distributed the items, one by one in their respective bundles. Exotic foraging complete. Construction complete. Winter foraging complete. Animal complete. Quality crops complete. Fall crops complete. Specialty fish complete. Crab pot complete. Night fishing complete. Spring crops complete. River fish complete. Chef's bundle complete. Dye bundle complete. Field research complete. Enchanter complete. Blacksmith complete. Adventure complete. Geologist complete. Community center complete.
Let's pause because they're done. It's fine, give it a second. It doesn't even 2:15. It's so sad. Close.
And that's how Habu managed to gather every 106 necessary items to complete the community center in just 2 hours and 16 minutes. And if you see someone trying to achieve the second main Stardew Valley goal, which is to win Sebastian's heart, you should follow me here and on Twitch, because I also speedrun Stardew Valley, but with the goal to marry the characters as fast as possible. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, I hope this video helped you understand a bit more about the speedrun community. Bye! Subscribe to my channel, it is free, and you'll be nice. I also make streams on Twitch, go there and give me a sub. I stream almost every day, actually not